spray with the fire like the fuckers. What's up, everybody? I'm Philippe. This is my co-host Jamie. We got a special episode for you guys today. We're gonna recap like what's been going on with us, what's been going on, like what we did this summer. We got a couple cool things happening. I wanted to jump into something though a little bit. Somebody asked me a question.
You mean you have an agenda, Phil?
It was like 5 minutes before I walked in, which is usually how my agenda goes.
What's going on, everybody?
I want to hear your 2 cents on it too.
Of course.
Right? In the sense of like personal development, right? Because cool, we do all these things, right? We're always busy, productive, moving the needle, getting into other stuff. But somebody asked me before, like, what does personal development mean for me? What have I done? So I want to like push that onto you. Like, what's personal development mean for you?
Right now in my life, personal development is accountability. When I say I'm going to do something, I got to do it,
Cool.
whether I like it or not. And I've been actually trying to do the things that I don't like to do.
Cool.
And, a big thing right now, I'm an open book, obviously, right? A big thing right now is being accountable in my company, right? Being there. People want to see me because they feel more comfortable. They can learn. I kind of am a mentor. I love hospitality. I'm immersed in it, right? Yeah. When you're in your salon, it's a different vibe. You bring the energy, Absolutely. You bring the passion, you turn Absolutely. It up, right? So that's what I've been missing. And it was a challenging summer, to say the least, to be present. Yeah. We both were away for a little bit, and there's just been a ton of moving parts, obviously. And if you're not organized and ahead of the wave, you're going to get rolled over.
Absolutely.
And I got rolled over in my own company this summer, and it was a lot for me to go through. And we talked about it. We talk offline, obviously, right? We're peoples. So, accountability. And the biggest thing I heard from all my friends and all the people I trust who own their own businesses are create a schedule for yourself, making a commitment, and make sure you're there. Yeah. Especially from you. Yeah, like the word Absolutely. Commitment has to mean something. And I'm committed now. I'm committed to being in each space 1 to 2 times a week. Starting next week, because I have a new sous chef coming in at Saddle River Inn. I got to train him, get him up to speed, make sure nothing falls off there. And then, onward and upward.
So talking to you, talking to other business people and anybody else who's in business or about to start business, it's not if, it's when. Like, you're going to get hit. It's going to come from all sides at once. It's going to be a couple things. It's going to be, really, it boils down to like, when do you notice it and how quick you could adjust to it, right? When you make those adjustments. Now, to go back a little bit, who were some of your mentors growing up? Like, more in business and everything, right? When you got it, maybe when you, I know you, like, obviously you were a chef before, and you still are, but before you got into your own business, meaning like that switch, and like, who gave you, I'm sure you knew like, yeah, I could do this, but there was a couple people along the way
no doubt
that you
about
looked up to, experienced, that you still reach out to. Give me a little bit of that journey.
I don't even know if those people knew they were mentors to me when I was young, because I was such a stubborn, hard head, loud mouth, and it all came from fear, basically, right? Just, I'm going to keep you at an arm's distance. I'm going to jab you all day until you run away, right? But like Mr. Zara was, he was the vice principal at Nutley High School, and I remember a meeting like it was 5 minutes ago. He called me down. I was a junior, and he's like, "Jamie, you haven't been in geometry for 43 days." And I was like, "Oh, I'm on work study, Mr. Zara." He's like, "That's great. You got a job. Didn't you think you should come downstairs and tell somebody about that? Like, there's some paperwork that goes along with that, And it's like, that's how much I was in my own world, that I had no clue. I probably had a clue, but I didn't give a shit.
I didn't give a fuck.
I didn't give a shit. I was making money. I got a job. I was leaving school at 12:30. It all checked out, for me. But he was one of my mentors, a guy by the name of Michael Fitzsimmons. They owned Scuttlebutts in Nutley. It's like a pub. They had a wing night they were famous for. Scuttlebutts, it was called. It was on Center Street.
I would love to be at the the little meeting when they're like, "Yeah, come up with some names." Scuttlebutts. And then they were like, "All right, fuck."
We crushed it. Scuttlebutts. That's it. That's the name.
Good.
So it was the Fitzsimmons family. They're Irish, obviously. He went to culinary school. He worked all over the city, but he had a small family restaurant in Nutley, but he did things the right way.
Yeah.
And I started there as a busboy, and I was late every day, much like you are to our podcast every week.
Oh my God.
I had to put him on blast. No, but finally he's like, "You're always late. You're never in the dining room. You're always in the kitchen. Yeah. Why don't I teach you how to cook?" And I just said yes, and that was it. And he showed me the right way, and then it moved from there. And then I was in culinary school, and after that, I did my externship at a French Moroccan bistro called Cafe Centro, and there was this guy Frank Delatrain there. He was born in Italy and raised in France, and he spoke 4 languages. I never had a clue what the fuck he was saying, but he was always yelling at me
Yeah.
and throwing my shit in the garbage and like telling me to get it together. I was a fucking mess. I was 19. I would go from school to work, then out all night, then back to school.
Yeah.
And, he gave me probably 60 chances, legitimately, where I fucked up and should have been fired because he saw some talent in me. He took me under his wing. And, all those lessons didn't really settle in till later on in life. And I've mentioned them probably 5 times in interviews. And I don't even think he knows that
Yeah.
he was so influential on me. But I didn't know it either until 2, 3, 5, 7 years later, where I was like, wow, that guy was incredible. I wish I shut up and learned a little more from him. And the other one is my stepfather. You know, um, he's just such a good human being, and he's so relaxed and casual and, focused on the important stuff. You know what I mean? Those life lessons that are truly important. And those things, became the biggest things in my life. And I didn't even know it until I knew it. Once you have kids and you settle down and you start to look at things for what they are and not just live in your own little bubble,
You
right?
settle down.
Yes, I'm married with 3
I don't mean
children.
that.
I'm
I
well
mean just
settled down.
like you can still go after like whatever you want in terms of business and everything.
Yes, I'm talking.
Settled is very much in quotes.
I'm
Yes, that's what I'm
You're
saying.
right. I'm talking personal life
Yeah,
stuff, right? Where I can sit in my own skin and chill out with my family and play a game and enjoy it.
yeah.
Like that stuff I couldn't do when I was out there.
So cool. That got you to here, right? But what gets you to like, or like who? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And like, there's got to be some. Oh, I think there's somebody, right? Where it's like, because I know for me it was like, cool. It's not my fault. I'm the victim. Why are you yelling at me? All that shit, right? Eventually, it switched where I became a problem solver, right? Where a couple people left me to like figure stuff out
Right.
instead of doing it for me or throwing my shit out or it's not good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like through my journey and then with my own personal development without getting into it, right? But it's like, cool. Who are the people that were like, when you want to buy that restaurant and they're like, fucking do it. You're going to make it happen. And you see them shit and you're like, oh shit. And then after that, the next one, and I know you like opened a few of them up in the last year or two. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who are those people? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to hear.
Before I opened my first place, probably nobody. I don't think anybody actually believed that I could do it because personally I was a mess,
Yeah.
Professionally I was good. I would make it to work every day and do my job really well. Uh, but the one person who did believe in me was my stepfather. He's like, listen, I've been to all the places that you've worked at. I know you can cook. I'm a dentist. I don't really want to give you a loan, but I'll give you a loan and become your partner. And that,
Well, he
that's
believed
really
in
who
you.
set me up. He did. And then I met my current business partner, Robert Palmer. Met him on a whim through a mutual friend that I
That's a,
worked with in the city.
that's a great fucking name, by the way.
Robert Palmer.
Robert
Yeah,
Palmer.
he's the
It's
sledgehammer.
like a fucking baseball.
He's the money sledgehammer, bro.
Up at bat, Robert Palmer.
But he's the guy that keeps it all together, man.
Cool.
He's the Wizard of Oz. He's so financially sound and positive. He is the most positive influence probably in my life to date. You could say anything in the world, you're third.
All right, it's not bad. I'm on top three.
Jesus is number two. You could say anything in the
Totally
world to
worked
him.
my way up to
He put me on the spot. I had to throw him in the top three. You could say throw anything at him, and he finds a way to see the bright side.
the problem solver.
He is the problem
Solution
solver.
based. Cool.
He is the problem solver, and I didn't know I needed that so much until I had problems that I couldn't handle.
Until you follow.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was the creative problem solver, but
Yeah.
you can be all those things, but if you're not organized and you don't hold yourself accountable, none of it matters. None of it matters. You're getting washed over.
Well,
You're getting rolled over.
there's also different tiers, right? So like there's basic problems that you could solve, which is like pay your rent, pay your mortgage, this, you know what I mean? Shit.
Right.
And there's like,
Are those problems?
but there's people that are like, yeah, make it happen. And it's like, no, you do. That's pretty good. You know what I
Right.
mean? Then there's other ones which might be, work related or business or some other shit, right? Yeah, cool, make that happen. Then there's relationship ones, right? And like, I wouldn't necessarily call them problems, but challenges, right?
Right.
I like to use different words with that because when it challenges you, it actually like opens the door to give you an opportunity to fix it. When it's a problem, you're already going into it like there's a fucking problem. When
Right.
it's a challenge, challenge accepted. Nobody's like problem accepted. It's challenge accepted.
Yes.
So it just the way it changes my thinking, and I kind of wired myself to do that. But cool. So like,
It also forces you to be positive when you're going into it,
of
right?
course,
Because we love challenges,
of course.
but problems, nobody loves a problem.
You want to hear something crazy? Like I do, right? I'm the most creative when shit hits the fan, when I have problems. In the moment, I'm like, I might not show you, but I'm like, fuck. I am honest where like I'll talk to you and other people what's
Right,
going on because I just need to get it out and
right.
everything. But like I get into fucking grind mode right away. I know what to do. N-
You almost look forward to it. It
Well, I
sounds
used to
like
be
to
like
me.
nobody wants them, right? But I do because the quicker they come, the quicker I figure them out. And talking from some like other people, successful people that have um, you know, multi businesses of the same or whatever kind of
Right,
stuff that I'm doing, whether it's hospitality, whether it's in the salons, real estate. I always talk to people that have a lot more shit than me. I'm
right,
always listening. I'm always like grateful that they give me time, but I take advantage of it. I was with somebody the other day, right? And I was like, boom, 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 questions, 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 getting as much information of his experience to identify and then to make sure I have the one. So now I'm prepped. I'm like, oh, that's coming down the line. All right, cool. Or, oh, it happened to you too. All right, it's supposed to happen. Right. And then
right,
like I'm also immersed in like obviously, like I do Tony Robbins, I'm a platinum member.
right,
So we go and hang out with all these other people, right? And they're very successful, not just in business, but in like relationships and problem solving and challenges and helping out humanity, like whatever it
right,
is, it's the same thing. It's just different. If you're great at, and they're all relationships, right? So like if you're good at this, if you're great at this one, you're great at this one, and you're great at this. And if not, you have all these people next to you,
right,
like the thing I learned was like I don't need to have all the resources. I just need to be resourceful.
right,
AKA I just need to have motherfuckers like you,
right.
right? If I need
Surrounded by them.
if I want like if I'm gonna do a party at my house and I want the best fucking chef, I'm not gonna learn on YouTube how to fucking cook.
Right,
I'm gonna hit you up,
right,
right? So now I'm resourceful.
right,
If it's fixing the sheetrock, whatever it is, right?
right.
Like being resourceful, picking up the phone, talking to people, getting vulnerable. That's a lot of what I learned how to do that.
That's a tough life lesson, right? Vulnerability. That's not easy for guys like us.
It is.
Is it?
I'm gonna explain to you,
It's
right?
not easy for me.
No, it wasn't easy for me too. So I'm
Okay.
putting myself in your shoes too. But
Okay.
like once I flip, there's a switch, man. It's the rewiring of my brain, right? Where it's like, cool, no more pride, no more ego, or just like less than, right? Doesn't mean I'm
Okay.
not sometimes. And so like ask for help, ask for help, ask for help, ask for help, get vulnerable. Like, what's the worst they're gonna do to me? Like if I'm down here already, it can't get any worse.
Right.
Shit. It can only get better, right? If they say no, I got used to the answer of no. I'm like, bro, it's cool. You say no. I don't waste my time with you. Put me in this direction. It's when you're like, maybe, let's see. And I'm like, this motherfucker didn't call me yet. Right? Like, what's going on? Or I need a loan or whatever it is,
Right.
right? You know, when you're in the spot, you're
Right.
like, hello,
Yeah. I need it now.
time's of the
My
essence.
time's more
But if you
important
tell
than
me no, I'm
yours.
like, cool,
Let
let
me
me go
move
over
on.
here. So it made me adjust how I look at stuff. And so like I could look at stuff like, 100 feet away and already understand how it's coming, whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whether it's relationship with my wife. Like I
Right.
start reading the signs, I start seeing it. It's not just like smacking me in the face anymore. And like again, like once I got into it, like that's why I linked up with you because you're like solution based, right? And that's why the group of people I hang out with, everybody's like, we say it, right? It's like yes, and figure it the fuck out.
Right.
Once I start hearing too many, like, the way my bank account's set up, the way my relationship, we're leaving on Friday, but we're going here Thursday, and this, that. Now, like, I'm like, yeah, all right, like,
Yeah.
just say no.
Yeah. You end up spending less time with that person, right? Immediately.
Of course, and not out of just like disdain or anything like that, but
Right.
just like I could just read their mindset, and it's really tough. At least right now where I'm at, like, I want people that help me get to where, and hopefully I help them too,
Right.
right? By saying it, like, because it's a together thing. It's like, let's figure it out.
Right.
Once it becomes very solitary and very like, no, me, I, it's it's the opera, right? Me,
I learned that from you. I learned a few things from you. Number one, celebrate the small victories, right?
hell yeah.
On a daily basis. Like you said something before. You're like somebody who can figure out how to pay their rent, pay their mortgage. I don't even consider that stuff.
It's not challenging
That's automatic, right? Those things, but they're a big deal.
unless you don't have it.
Right. Yeah. I don't think about it because I'm okay right
Yeah.
now, but that would suck if I wasn't. But to your point, small victories.
Yeah.
You get out of bed every day and you're grinding regardless, you know? You got to make X just to wake up in your own bed, right? Every month. You don't
Absolutely.
think about those anymore. Those are no longer challenges because you accepted that challenge, you handled that challenge, you moved on. Now you're looking for bigger and better challenges. But you mentioned something, immersing yourself in people who have more, have done more, are doing more, looking for more. That's the key. Just be surrounded and immersed in it, right? Even when I was a kid and I played basketball and I was 12, I wanted to play with 16-year-old kids. They're taller, they're stronger, they're faster, they're better. It makes you better instantaneously.
Absolutely.
If you're hanging out with people who have what you want,
Comfort level.
you're going to get it.
Mm.
I like to be uncomfortable. I've realized that about myself. And now I'm doing all those small things that make me uncomfortable, because it moves the needle and it moves me personally and professionally. And a lot of it is just linked together, right? Like you said, they're all relationships. The relationship with yourself, I find, is the most important relationship now. I got to get up and love myself every day. And then I can really go out and give 1,000%, if that's what it takes.
Look, and being uncomfortable doing uncomfortable shit is cool, right? Like that's where we need to be. But if it's your uncomfortable shit, it's technically comfortable. If I'm like, hey, you should do this, and you're like, I don't know.
Right.
Are you really doing uncomfortable shit? Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And I'm using that as an
No,
example,
I
right?
get
Because
it.
the same happens to me.
Right.
It's just less because first I have to like, who's it coming from? Do I value that person, right? Are they making shit happen? And that's how I get in the situation. I'm like, yes, fuck it. Because they know me and they push me, a bunch of my buddies, right? And like next thing you know, I'm in fucking Africa. Next thing you know, I'm in Idaho. And at the
Right.
beginning, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna go there. I gotta spend 20 stacks. I gotta do this, like flights and everything. I'm away
Everything.
from my business. Cool, because you get stuck in the cons, right?
Right.
Then what are the pros? I'm going to be next to these people that traveled halfway across the world where our phones don't work, where we can't do business and we can actually focus on ourselves and better ourselves. And you leave with like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. People are like, give me, I'm like, there was so much going on. I'm like, yo, yeah, elephants, giraffes. We jumped off the fucking, and we did, right? But it's like those meetings at night, smoking a cigar, chilling, people coming, hey, come to my house in San Diego and do
Right.
this on my boat, and we're gonna go here. And you're like, you get those. That's the thing because it's not so direct. You don't see,
Right.
right? It looks secondary, and when you get to places like that, right, you're just like, holy shit. Because I'm still like a little kid, right? I'm like, anywhere I go, I'm like, how the fuck did I get here? I'm
Right.
like, do they know who the fuck they invited? Right? It's the shortcomings that I have in terms of
Of course.
self-worth and self-esteem. It's a millisecond. I'm not like in it. I'm like more impressed. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, not I made it, but just like, this is pretty fucking cool that I got
Absolutely.
here. And then on top of it, then it's like, where else can I go? It's always like, where else can I go? Some people
Because you're amazed that you got there.
blown away.
And if you can get there, why can't you get there?
That's it. So it's the same amount of work to get from here to get over there.
And
It's
then
the
you're
same.
cold plunging at Tony Robbins' house in the river behind the
Fucking
Robbins,
Idaho in fucking February. Yeah.
in Sun Valley, Idaho. I mean, that's
Blown away next to him, you know what I mean? Next to other people, you have like Bill Gates' house and everything. And again, I'm saying that not to impress anybody. I'm fucking like I'm from Harris. You know, like we don't have trees. I'm still blown away. I'm from jails and institutions and
right.
drugs. Like I'm still blown away. And people don't have to go through that shit. You just have to have a sense of gratitude in whatever case. And then all of a sudden you're like, you could absorb that stuff. It's very, it's very interesting how like if I keep that at the forefront, we could have the same challenge comes to us, you're gonna categorize that so much more differently than me. A lot of people do like, you didn't yell, you didn't blow the fuck up. And I'm like, no, like, why would I do that? Like, I'm blown away. Like, why would I waste time doing that? I'm already 10 steps ahead, figuring
Right.
it the fuck out.
Right.
Listen, I'm still like, I'm gonna punch this motherfucker in the face when I see him. You know what I
Harrison
mean?
comes out once in a while,
I'm
right?
still like, well, it's the old bullshit, right?
Right.
Like it talks
Right.
and it's like, it still wants to show its face, like, yeah, I'm
Right.
back here, rah, rah, rah,
Right.
all that. And it's just like, nah, nah, yeah, we don't live there no more.
I'm past that.
I don't even fucking,
Those little insecurities, right? They creep up
yeah,
on all of us. And I went through that. I was in Italy going through some personal stuff. I was in my own head though.
yeah.
And I got back and we talked and You're like, you needed your fix, bro. I was like, I didn't reach out,
Yeah.
and
Get
that's a
stuck.
problem.
It is.
That's a problem. I was a hamster in a wheel, just feeling sorry for myself every day.
Yeah.
And when I actually got and had the conversation with the person I needed to, it was nowhere near what I made
It
up in
works
my
out.
mind. Nowhere near. In fact, it's exactly what I needed at that time in my life. But when I'm going through it, I love to torture myself just enough.
Well, right
Just to
to the
feel,
point
right?
of like it happens here, and then they're like, cool, we're gonna stretch this. I don't got to do nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone. We do a lot of that. Like if it's not fucking on fire, then
Right.
I got these other ones,
Right.
and then you're like, fuck, I should have taken care of that shit a long fucking time ago. So like the phone is important, right?
Oh, the
Reaching
phone.
out, letting people know, not just like people there, but like whoever has
Catching up.
letting it out is really big, right? And then like, cool, you gotta call the right people
No doubt.
because you can't be like, I can't believe that motherfucker. A lot of people want to gas us too, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're their
they want
boss. You
cosign.
should do this. And I'm like, nah, man.
Exactly.
So you got to call the right people, get the right information. You don't call, somebody who's a firefighter. Oh, there it is. You don't call somebody who's a firefighter. You know what I mean? If you're
Right.
like trying to like open up a business, right?
Right.
Like you have to like, make sure
Right.
it's matched. And,
If you want to wire the house, you're not calling a plumber, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what it goes back to being resourceful. Yeah, of course you
But
could.
you
It's
don't
probably
want
from Harrison too,
yeah,
right?
it's for parties.
Same difference, one bridge.
But nah, it's cool. And so like I'm more intrigued in the journey, right? So listen, and again, talking with somebody the other day, and it was like I was identifying a lot, right? Same, we're like in the same direction, a little bit different, but like we're
Okay.
moving similar as you. And it's like he was like, yeah, I don't drive by these places with my car or my watch and shit because I got an email once and it was like, must be nice, all that bullshit, right? And let me tell you, that could put such a fucking damper on the direction I'm going to sometimes because I don't like I wouldn't like I don't do that to be like ha ha ha. I'm like, yo, I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you celebrate the wins, right? And so like when you hear that information, sometimes you're like, fuck, am I doing it right? Are they looking at it differently? Are they jealous? Or this maybe I gotta hide it. Like I had to and I've talked to you about it before. Like
Right.
I had to like go inside and like, what are my true motives, right? And I'm like, why the fuck should I make it a job to hide who I am, what I do, what I'm interested in? You know what I mean? Like I like fucking nice ass fucking cars. You know what I mean?
You love
I,
cars,
I
man.
love
There's nothing
eating.
wrong with
I
that.
love doing shit. I don't do anything. I don't drink. I don't fucking get high.
Right.
I don't gamble. Not that it's a substitute, right? But it's just,
Right.
but I do co-sign my own shit, right?
Of
In the
course you
sense of getting
do.
it. But so like I was taught later on, I learned like, listen, don't be like when given the opportunity, you ask somebody like, yo, how'd you do that? Not like must be nice or some shit like that. Like, how'd you do it? Because if you ask somebody like Jamie or ask somebody like me, we're gonna go above and beyond to make sure like this is the information, point you in the right direction, and see if you want it. And I think like that's why I do it now. Like when a kid comes up to me, he's like, "Yo, the car's fucking dope." I'm like, "When you getting yours?" And I'm like, "Nah, man. Like, when's the date? Like, what are you doing?" Like, I give them a quick like little thing. Yo, they leave with the biggest smile. I leave with the biggest smile. So I remember when I was growing up. Sometimes I was scared, and other times when I did, it would be like, "Get the fuck out of here, kid."
Right.
Like, we're not telling you. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so, like, that's part of me giving back and doing some
The secret.
service work. Yeah, man. Like
Got
gratitude.
to give it away to keep it, right? If
Gotta
you keep gratitude in the forefront, you're always positive because you're happy and grateful for what you have today. Because these things were your dreams 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right?
absolutely, man.
And not celebrating it is not being true to yourself.
Yeah, you're doing all the work to do, it, and then you're like, "Don't tell nobody. I don't want people to know." Like, nah. Like, what the fuck? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
One of my bussers came up to me on Friday and he's like, Chef, how'd you get that car? And I said, it's everything you don't see. You know, it's the 25 years of working 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
No weddings, no funerals, no parties, working every weekend. It's the grind that nobody sees. And I told him, I was like, 11 years ago when I opened this restaurant, I had $271 in my bank account. And he's like, you're driving a house now. And I said, not the house I'm going to live in.
Yeah.
Just to let him know, like, I was you. I was you 10 years ago, but I took all those steps to get to me today. But who am I going to be in 5, 10 years from now? I'm excited. You're absolutely right. You should be excited because you want to share that knowledge. That's all it is. And it's not about stuff. It's not about stuff. It's about the feelings behind it. It's about what it took to get there. It's about bringing everybody else up around you.
It's the challenge.
And it goes back to who's sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Who do you want to spend your time with? Who do you want to hear? Whose brain do you want to pick? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So,
And listen, it also isn't just like, cool, you have to be this successful or this much money or do these business. Like, you just have to have your meter pointed in the right direction. You just got to be like, all right, I'll figure it out. Yes, let me make it happen. The test, that was my test my whole life. Like, I got clean in like 2000, not like I got clean in 2000. And when I got clean, like right before
I was right.
I was
Matt asked me the other day at work. He's like, "How long has Phil been clean?" I said, "I'm pretty sure it was 2011 or 2012."
2011.
Yep.
It's November 4th. I'm coming up on 12, by the way. So
Congratulations.
give me something by all means.
He likes black t-shirts.
I do it simple as that, man. Just anything, I'll be real fucking happy about it. I'm like, they thought of me. So I was always a victim, right? Because I would look at everybody else's shit and like, how come it happens to you? You got this job, you got this girl, you got this car, and I can't. So it wasn't mine. It wasn't my doing. It was the universe, and right, I was a
Right.
victim the whole time.
Right.
Now I look back and I'm like, I had so many opportunities. No regret or nothing, but like once I switched to like they're all around me, like now I see it because everybody that sees shit, I'm just like, no, abandoned building. I'm like, how much? Let's do it.
Right.
Right. This one's selling for this. I'm like, why? So anything that looks crazy or fucked up, I kind of look at it like, cool, nobody else is looking at it.
Right.
Let me do a double take and kind of figure it out. So when people are like, there's no deals out there in real estate and this, I find like I got one I'm working on now. You know what I mean? I'm working on we're working on putting a fund together with my buddy. We're working on this. So like this is the game changer, especially when the economy's not the best, when
Right.
you know what I mean? You start hearing those things, that's when big ideas become like they happen when they get executed, right? But the mind shift, right? The change in mindset, perspective, and everything. Again, nothing's happening to me, it's happening for me. And that's
Right.
also not just good shit.
It's bad.
Health,
It's bad shit.
it's financial, relationship, right? You can't pick and choose. You gotta take the whole thing. If it's happening for you, then it's everything.
It's funny. I heard you say something the other day. You were like, balance is bullshit. It doesn't exist.
It's a myth.
It's not the balance. It's the mindset behind it.
Yeah.
It's how you go into every situation and scenario and how you find time in order to give people your time.
Correct.
That's all people want from you, right? And that was my biggest challenge. I can't give them what I signed up for. So whose fault is that? I got to figure it out.
No, it's yours.
It's mine.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
But
right.
you got to figure out the why behind it.
That's right.
Why you categorize it. And that's good that you said before, like it does have to do with scheduling. So it goes commitment, scheduling, not scheduling commitment, because then you'll schedule something else and commitment falls out of place.
Right.
So it's like, and listen, you got to adjust, right? Like I've been on this fucking bullshit that I hate for being late. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even though I left fucking court, still late.
Right.
Yes, it's true.
Phil's an attorney. That's why he was at court. He had a murder trial. He's
I'll be.
He had his tuxedo T-shirt on before when he first walked in. You missed it.
I was
but-
right. I had to put the blazer on and shit. I had to put powder over my fucking head. So
Take
like,
care of your feet, people. I'm just gonna say that. That's all I'm gonna say.
that picture is sad.
I'm not gonna say anything else. Just treat your feet with respect, because then they'll respect you back, bro.
Sandblast.
I'm not saying anything. I don't know nothing. I'm just, I didn't mean to throw us off kilter, but but listen, you're right though. You gotta be on time. It shows that you respect other people's time as much as you respect yourselves.
And that's
the thing.
And that's commitment, right? And like somebody like you holding me accountable, right? And because I won't be late to other shit, right? But
right.
Somehow I fucking come late to this. Right?
Yeah, and I make a joke out of it because
but like, and I don't feel good about it, which is
right.
the first step. But that's cool. I know people that don't feel good about shit for fucking 10 years, right? Like I have to make that switch.
Right.
Exactly.
What
right.
are you doing about
and
it?
It starts with a little shit like that, as opposed to everybody's waiting for the big shift or the big change. The other thing is like, cool. We talk about proximity is power, right? Like the reason why I find deals, I find opportunities because I'm lined up with the right people and I'm a yes man. In the sense of like, hey, listen, we got this restaurant for sale. You wanna buy it with us? Yes. You don't know none of the details? It's yes. Because it means like I'm opening the door, like, yes, let's talk about it, let's figure it out. Like I always say no.
Right.
Once you say no,
it's no.
it's done. It's somewhere else.
Right.
Once you say no twice, I'm not even asking you anymore
Right.
because you're the no guy now, right?
Right.
So like again, you have to, is it happening to you or for you?
Right.
People keep, and it goes back to me when I was a kid, when I was like, nobody's throwing me opportunities because I wanted that perfect one. I wanted it at the right time when I
Of
had
course.
money, when I had time, everything's going good. Let me know when that shit happens, by the way, right? It like, that's why balance is myth,
Right.
right? It's like people that work a 9 to 5 and they have the weekends off. Like, that's cool. They'll call that balance. And after, but if you look at it in 20, 30 years, is it really balance? Right? Does it shift like that much? Or did you create some bullshit that down the line you're like, fuck, what do I do? It's like you gotta ride the wave. There's peaks and valleys, as vague as that shit is, but ready. I like to say there's seasons. So it's not so much like exact this, it's like it's grinding season. When's grinding season at the restaurants?
Every day.
When's grinding season? There's still
Fourth quarter,
fourth
basically. I mean,
quarter.
yeah.
That's it.
All the
Same,
parties, all the
same,
extra
same
stuff,
for
right?
us, right?
Right.
From November to December, nobody's allowed to take off because you have Thanksgiving, you have they're on break, the college kids, you know what I mean? You
Right.
have Hanukkah, you got Christmas, you got
Right.
New Year's, you got this. Like it is crunch time. If you're going down the shore, right? There's a small time frame, and it's May to late August. Like there's seasons
Right.
everywhere.
Right.
And then there's seasons where I'm like, cool, August is my non-negotiable. I'm fucking out. I'm out with my family, kind of same
That's
for
your
you, right?
season.
That's my season. Do they always line up?
That's your replenish season.
Yeah, but
Mine
the
didn't line up
seasonal.
this year, and getting back to it for a minute, I didn't pick up the phone. I didn't use it.
Mm.
And I now that I look back on it, hindsight's 2020, right? It's easier, but I knew you weren't going to co-sign me on it, and I didn't like the way the conversation went in my head before I even called you. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
You're building a case like
yeah, I was already, I didn't want to hear it from you.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
A
Because
lot of things.
yeah, I just didn't want to hear it. I knew the direction you were going to
Yeah.
go,
You're
but
ready.
I needed to feel sorry for
You weren't
myself.
ready. Yeah.
I needed to put myself through it and feel sorry for myself in that frame. I don't know why, but that's just what I'll figure out the why later.
Yeah.
You know, but what's important is I won't do it again. I actually sat in it this time. I never sit in it. I usually get up and run in the opposite
Yeah.
direction. And, I've been in therapy, I don't know, on and off for 28, 35 years since I was a kid, but
Yeah.
I've learned a thing or two, right? And the thing I learned over the last year was you got to feel the good to feel the bad. And you got to feel the bad to feel the good. I didn't feel anything. So when you said celebrate the small victories, I was like, what does that even mean, bro? You gotta feel, you gotta let it through. I had a filter that blocked everything. I need a larger strainer, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? If you're washing potatoes,
Yeah.
you're not using a fine
No.
mesh strainer. You know what I
Not
mean?
lose a cheesecloth.
That's it. So I needed to let some of that filter through and flow through me. So I sat in it this time and I said, I'm not gonna do this to myself ever again. I'm on vacation across the world. I'm supposed to be enjoying every second of every day. And I was miserable in my mind, and I should have been in paradise and enjoying my kids and my wife,
Yeah, be present.
I was not. I
Look,
was-
it's one of those things where like you're not gonna eliminate it. You might, but it's like do it quicker. Everything is like, here's how I categorize everything: risk, lessen the risk, right? Execution, make it quicker. It's as simple as that, right? That's how somebody fucking leaves, a manager leaves, a leader leaves. Cool. Execute right away. As fast as like, don't wait, don't this. Now I'm at the like, I sense it and I know something's up. I'm looking for somebody before it happens, right?
right.
So, because you could be like, that's the quickest. There's always a quicker, there's always something faster. Cool. Like, that's what's happening. And so, like, that's why I don't panic. That's why I don't fucking blow up. That's why I don't yell. Nothing's catching me off guard like that for the
Right.
most part.
Because you're tuned in.
Because I'm dialed in, because I'm tuned in, and I understand it. And it doesn't go just in my business. It goes in my, like, if my wife's starting to say some shit, I know we might need to take a little vacation or
You
go
feel it getting
somewhere.
off the tracks, right? You
It's
just
hot. I talk to her. So, and if I do that, again, I don't do them evenly, but I do them in all my
because
relationships.
balance doesn't exist.
Does it, right? You think it's just even keel. It's like once I start getting into that flow, and now with all that, it's like there's momentum, right? That's the driving force. That's the oil, momentum. You can't stop. You can't stop buying. You can't stop traveling. You can't stop doing stuff, with your wife. You can't. It's momentum. What happens every time? What happens when you stop giving, attention to your wife? Shit hits the
It
fan,
doesn't end
right?
well.
But now you got to restart it. You're like,
Right.
fuck, I gotta. It's restarting the engine. That's the problem, right? What happens if you disappear from your business even for a little bit? Cool, you'll go in there. You go in there. I know when I go in there, I'm like a fucking guest, and I'm just like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" And I'm ready to hear like, "Hey, absent father, where
Yeah,
you been?
it's really
Abandonment, huh?"
it's really awkward.
So,
You got to show up with a gallon of milk and a carton of cigarettes when you walk into your
yeah,
business after 3 months because they're like, "What's up? Where you been, Dad?"
but
Like,
in all relationship,
do you know this? You know, it's all the relationships. And to restart it, you're absolutely right. Cause then you have to put more focus on it because it's not maintenance at that
and
point,
it just
right?
don't make you feel good at first and everything.
No way.
So like, if you just, it doesn't. Certain things you need foot on the gas always, right? We know what those are, right? Like you need to produce, you need to have this income coming in so that you can pay for your shit. And the other ones is more maintenance, but it's momentum. The problem happens when people get comfortable. Either they have the set job and salary, this nothing's gonna happen. You know, they throw shots like, "Oh, it's just you guys are after money" or some shit like this. I have enough. Money's not everything. You hear all that shit. And I'm rolling this into somebody told me an example that they had the other day, and it was like, "Hey, my daughter, we were on vacation somewhere, and my daughter had to get rushed to the hospital there, right? And this is, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. And the doctors did tests and everything. And at the end of the day, like we had to fly them back. We had to get her back to New York City, right? To like the best hospitals in New York. And there was two options. Insurance would pay the ambulance, right? And they were down south. So that's a fucking long ride in the ambulance, right?
Okay.
Or they had to fly and they had to almost like charter a plane, pretty much get their own jet and everything, right? And they were like, no, put it on the Amex, right? That's when money's valuable, right? That's when you do everything you do and you're like, all right, this is why. When shit hits the fan, I'm not like, fuck, I should have took the overtime. Fuck, I was comfortable. Cool, I had my timeshare in Aruba and everything's fucking great.
Right.
It was like, no, I do this shit. So when something happens, if it happens or whatever, or even if it happens to you and I gotta help you the fuck out, boom, it's not a fucking problem. Right.
Freedom.
So like you have to go above the fucking curve, not the comfort mark, to make sure and momentum and keep it there and grind and make it happen. You're given all these opportunities, and what you want is less work, and you call it like they'll convolute it in the sense of like, I want to stay home, spend more time with my kids and everything. Your kids don't want to see you at home being a fucking bum and not doing everything, right? That's what you're going to still the new generation. Like they want to see you going out there grinding, showing them an example, providing for your family, instilling that in them so that they understand when they go out there, you're producing somebody great for the society, right? And so like, that's why I keep pushing. That's why I keep grinding. And I have fun along the way, right?
That's
I
important.
make sure if I die, something happens to me, not if I'm going to die, but something happens, like my wife's set up, man. My kid, like, sell some shit, make it happen.
Right.
She ain't gonna be poor. She ain't gonna be living like she did without me because obviously I make it happen, right? I want to make her know. I want to make her suffer a little bit. Gotta shed some tears at the funeral. But like she's good,
Right.
and that's kind of like why we do it.
You said something and it definitely hit for me. Um, Being comfortable, and comfort is the great reliever. It takes things away from you, right? You're gonna get too comfortable in who you are and
Yep.
the decisions you make, and it snowballs. It could be a negative thing, right? Comfort's not always good.
It is a negative thing. It is not good. Just to clarify, like that's how I was taught. And the same thing, like it was like, oh, it could be it's comfort is not good. It's like something you're used to. It's like being in your own shit, right? You know the smell,
Right.
it's warm, it's fuzzy. Even though it's shit, you won't leave because if you go and you're like, damn, I gotta start all over with new shit. I don't know the smell. It's not my shit, it's somebody else's. So like just to clarify, like comfort is not good. Enjoying moments is.
Right. There's a big
Comfort is a
difference.
is a is a
Pre,
time.
pre, yeah. Being present is different than being comfortable. So comfortability. So, Drew, Mr. O'Brien, I hopped in on the spoils and we talked with Nick.
Yeah.
Nick does really well. Nick Mirabella, our guest last week, does very well in e-commerce. I heard him talk about it. I immediately know I needed to pick his brain, right?
Yeah.
Didn't want to waste our full pod on it
Momentum.
because he had so much more to give. So we hopped on a call yesterday.
Yeah.
It was Drew, myself, and Nick, and we picked his brain. And he's like, "Who's your avatar? Are you guys comfortable? Do you like what you have?" And the answers were way more no than yes. We were putting the carriage in front of the horse. in many instances because great design, great website, fast, easy to use.
Mhm.
Nobody knows shit about it.
Correct.
Who are we? What do we stand for? Who is our person? Who do I want wearing it besides myself? You know,
We
it's
touched on that
cool.
one day,
We
bro.
did for
Like,
sure.
who's gonna
And
wear
I
your shit?
exactly. And I always, and that was the impetus of me even asking Drew. I was like, dude, we got a podcast. It might become something. You should make stuff that
Wait,
I want to
what?
wear.
Might become something. It is something. Get the fuck. New co-host now hiring.
He's gonna be posting for co-host right after this on
I'm so gonna
IG,
edit
bro.
this fucking part out.
No, you're
And
not.
just
No,
like,
keep it. It's
nah,
raw.
I'm
That's what
keeping
makes
it,
us
man.
us. But the point is that I didn't have any answers for any of it.
Yeah.
What do we stand for? Who are we? I don't know. Are there pillars? Are there foundational things that we need people to understand about us that make them want to wear? What do you feel when you put the shirt on? You know, why do people wear anything?
Yeah.
Why do you wear Celine? Why do you wear Chanel? Why do you wear Gucci? Like, you know what I mean? Because you feel a certain way when you
Yeah.
put it on. You
Absolutely.
feel a little bit accomplished. You feel like
There's a backstory to it. There's, you know what I mean?
all of it, the history of fashion,
Yeah.
all of it. Where did those people come from? How did they start? Who were their lead designers? There's so much information to know about it. I had no real answers for any of it. I just thought, this is dope. We're gonna make a shirt. We're gonna make a hat.
That's how it started.
I'm gonna be in Neiman Marcus, and they're gonna be $350. You know,
Yeah.
that's that's the way my brain was
There's
working.
steps
But
to it, though. Yeah.
there's stages, there's steps. You know, and then he asked the question like, well, where do you see your business? What stage is it in right now? And this was after 40 minutes on the phone. And I was like, yo, we're not even fucking sperm right now. We're in the nutsack. Like we're somebody who hasn't even gone through puberty yet. You know what I mean? Like, cause he said, infant, toddler, right? All, you know, all of it. You know where it comes from, but we're before even infancy stage.
Mhm.
So I gotta check myself.
But it's cool that wherever he got it from, like you see how it pertains, like those are the things that you think like, yeah, and then you go and you're like, whoa.
And it all comes back
understand this
to
shit.
November,
Nice.
Tony Robbins,
That's it.
Dallas. I got to be there. I have no choice. Phil's going to question my commitment in life in general
You got a
until,
choice.
until I'm standing next to him
It's
walking on coals.
it's
And that's the bottom line.
It's everything you said. Do you want to be comfortable and your comfort? You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you want to be before you were like, cool, being uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, but is it your uncomfortable or
Right.
mine? I bet you both of ours are totally fucking different.
They are.
You're uncomfortable, and like my uncomfortable when I present it to other people, they're like, wow, I can't even believe this. You would do this, you would risk it. And then I talk to other people, they're like, popped your cherry finally, right? Right?
Like grow up.
Because uncomfortable is still like it's perspective. It's like art, you know what I mean? But if you keep it at a higher level with higher players, you're gonna be blown away at what you could do. Everything that you do, everybody underneath you is like, oh my God. And rightfully so. And the same with me. But it's like, who are we looking up to?
Right.
Because if you keep looking down, like, yeah,
That's where
you're
going.
not uncomfortable. You're comfortable actually.
That's where you're
Right.
going. You're not moving in the right direction, right?
You're moving. You've got to move. Anybody who thinks like, no, I'm chilling right now, I'm good. You're moving. You're in reverse because the world is fucking moving. You're here stagnant. Everybody else is doing this. It's like people that are like, no, I'm good. I don't do social media. I don't do a phone. Like, I don't do this, right? Remember them? And it still happens, right? Now they're like, bro, how do I do Instagram? Like,
Right.
what the fuck is going on? Like, teach me. It's like, yo, the world keeps moving. You're
It's
actually
funny
going
you say
reverse.
that. I remember my GM, Peter Arnone. He was the opening at Cellar 335. And he was on IG maybe, I don't know, I guess it was before the pandemic, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, I don't really do IG. He's like, Chef, you're missing the wave. Like, it's coming, it's happening. It almost already happened.
Dude.
Get on that shit, you
Yep.
know? And I think I might have posted my 100 post, like, you know,
But now you're on it. Like,
now I'm on it.
And it's a tool.
It's
It's
a
like
tool.
everything else. When you look at it, you know why you didn't get
I think that kind of connected us, to be honest
No,
with
that's
you.
how it
I
did.
really think it connected
why,
us.
why didn't you get on it at first?
Probably I was afraid to not be good at it. I don't know. If I'm looking back, that's an honest answer that I
But
could
you were
give.
like, I don't need it. Not important.
You're right.
Doing what I'm
I
doing.
was comfortable.
I'm comfort.
I was
That's
comfortable.
all it is. When they're like, learn a new skill, you're like, no, I'm good. Oh, what the
Right.
fuck? I need a new. I'll hire somebody.
Right.
Yeah, you got hired somebody, but if you don't know it, you don't know what you're hiring, right? And it always goes back to that. You don't need to know everything, but you do have to get it. If you're in the business of it, you do have to have an understanding of it.
Absolutely.
And the more you know, the more you could access it. But like that's awesome, man, because Look, I also it happens to me. I also like to see the struggles and challenges. There's certain shit that I'm like TikTok. I got an account. I don't really fuck with it. I don't make time for it. It's interesting,
Me either.
but in the back of my head, I'm just like, and I'm like, if I don't get on it, I'm gonna. What I'm saying now pertains to me,
Right.
you know?
I use it for other things. I'll, follow the stuff I like.
Yeah,
Finance,
yeah.
spirituality,
Memes,
history.
great memes, great fucking.
I can't.
Oh,
Oh, there's
you
just
do TikTok dances and shit.
there's too many. Listen, my kids love,
Yeah,
love, love TikTok. My daughter's doing TikTok
and
dances
that's
every half
right.
an hour, right?
How old are your kids?
10, 13, and
And
15.
that's the future.
It's the
So
future.
you got to jump on it. You know.
You
Listen,
want to, do a TikTok dance?
I want to do a TikTok
I knew,
dance.
that's what he was getting at. I think we
Marvin,
might have to
Marvin
bust
can
one out.
handle that
Yeah, we're gonna be a trio, bro. Stay tuned for next week. We're
once
gonna
it
do a
goes for
TikTok
Marvin,
dance.
you know. Um, nah, look. Um, let's talk a little bit. Let's wrap up with like, what do you got in the works going on right now? I know you got an opening. You go. You do it.
So we're opening Kinjo, uh, first week November. Japanese restaurant. Chef Bill Sanders, my partner Robert Palmer, Asbury Wilkins will be the GM.
Where's it at?
We're in Newark,
Cool.
155 Washington Street, connected to the Irby, right next to Rutgers Law.
Yep.
So it's a great neighborhood. It's really
No,
it's
dope.
really shocking that
It's dope.
you don't know neighborhoods until you go into them, and then you look around and you're like, when did this happen in Newark? This is crazy, but
Mhm.
that's how it happens, right?
It's blowing up. It's like I did some work there in 2016 when I was a union carpenter. We redid the Haynes building, old department store, and just to see everything coming up. And again, like you're taking the shot, right? This is what some people be like, "Are you out of your mind? It's fucking Newark." Me, I'm like, "Yo, that's smart. You're going in before the fucking
Right.
wave, because once you open, it's like bing, 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 bing." And then,
We did it in
you get
Jersey
the whole
City.
like Jamie had such vision in the
Oh,
beginning
please.
because he opened it. But
We
you
did
know
it
what I
in
mean?
Jersey City though.
Yeah.
Like, Seller just turned 7, and when we first got there, there was nothing around in the neighborhood.
Yep.
I tell this story because I think it's funny, it's pertinent. And the first time I met my partner on site there, he rode his bike from his office in Hoboken, and I was 5 minutes behind him. I come in, I'm like, I expected to see his bike inside. I was like, Bob, where's your bike? He's like, it's right out front. I said, no, it's not, bro.
Stole it.
His bike got stolen in the 3 minutes that he was there. So right away, I was
That's
like,
how you knew you had to fucking.
oh, right away, I was like, yo, this spot's for us.
This is us. Yeah.
This is us. And now you drive down in the neighborhood and there's
Crazy.
30 buildings in 6 blocks. I mean, it's just, and rents 3K for a 1 bedroom. I mean, times they are a changing.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's constant, right? Is change.
That's the only
That's
thing
all we're
constant.
guaranteed. So listen, knock on wood. I hope it's kind of the same thing. I hope it doesn't take 4 years to get the neighborhood there, but we're in a great spot.
Yeah.
And I think we're set up for success, and we have an amazing opening team, and we're excited, man. We're hiring. Got a big meeting tomorrow, knocking stuff off of the to-do list every day. I think people are going to love it. I really do. So what do you got? What's up?
What do I got?
What's going on?
Everything. So me and Nelson, who's been on the podcast, we're working on putting a fund together, real estate
Okay.
fund. Getting the kinks out of all that, like whiteboarding it right now and structure and everything. Got a couple meetings lined up this week with some investors.
Give me the foundation. I want to understand.
So-
Like somebody says a fund, like it's private equity. It's 7 guys that have money that are like, yo, nobody can touch this and we can use it. Is that what it is?
So the fund we're putting, there's several funds. The fund we're putting together are going to have LPs, which is limited partners. Right?
Okay.
So let's say you invest
Okay.
100 grand, you're a limited partner. You
Okay.
don't necessarily have a say.
Okay.
This is just.
But I'm expected to have returns. That's it?
Yes.
Okay.
You're expected, whether it's dividends, whether it's equity,
Okay.
when we sell something,
Okay.
or a combination of both. And it's
Okay.
structured based on how much you put in, what you want. Usually there's a time frame of 5 years. That's what we're doing. Because if you're like, here's my money, and you want it in 6 months, I got to go right back to do this. And if I have a deal, it falls apart.
Got it.
We would be, myself, Nelson, we would be
Class A.
the GPs, right? Like we run the fund.
Okay.
So like we're the ones that make the decisions. We could have a board too. We're the ones that manage it. We're the ones that do everything.
You're the decision makers.
The decision makers, exactly. They would be under the fund's name, us as
Okay.
guarantors. So we have some risk involved with it too. We obviously put some of our money in it too. And how we would get paid would be the same, but also a management and a performance fee. right? Performance is based on performance. So it's not just taking out management. There has to be a management fee for running all these buildings and everything like that. So I got a project. I believe it's I'm gonna be vague, but it's 7 million. It's like 60 units or something like that,
Okay.
which is pretty good. It's affordable housing. Never bought affordable housing.
Okay.
Kind of new.
That's Nelson does that though, right?
What's that?
Nelson's in affordable housing or
No,
no?
no, none of us.
Oh,
Both of
wow.
us aren't.
Okay.
We just have regular residential. Some of them Section 8, but just normal type stuff. And so we're gonna put that deal, see if that works out. And at the same time, before we have this fund, whether we have it or not, pitch it to some people and see if they're interested in it. It would be great. So the idea of the fund too is like to buy something cash right away so we don't have that time frame, or go to banks or do that, then refinance it and utilize that money for another project, another project. You essentially just stay with the either the down payments, or if when you refinance, they're giving you 75%, the other 30% is in there. Essentially a down payment, either way.
Okay.
Look for deals, real estate. It could be anything, but like, you know, would love to. I see it going to the 100 million really quick. Because listen, if I put a fund together for $10 million, I do a $7 million deal. It's gone.
Right.
Back to fucking grabbing investors and everything, doing this shit all over again. So like in the beginning, it's like that, but we have to like go with a bigger number, because I got like 5 deals on the table that I can make happen. It's the same. I say yes, I make it happen. They're gonna throw me more, throw me more, throw me more. And that's a lot of my real estate portfolio, how it
Okay.
happened. That's a lot of Nelson's too. And it's saying yes, figuring it out, because again, you keep saying no,
They're going to stop asking.
then they start calling you, and I don't want to call you.
It's all right if I have stuff, just not more stuff. So the question is,
Just not my stuff.
so salons are on hold. Are you looking for more? Are you looking for new? Or you
No.
have your eye on a small group that's retiring? Like what's
The answer is always yes. Also,
Okay.
right? Like it's like I can't be focused on both places right
Right.
now. I'm like heavy focused. Like my real estate's good. I'm heavy focused on the salons, in the sense of same thing you talked about. Like I'm present there. I'm working with one of our leaders on 2 salons. That's
Okay.
kind of she runs. I'm in the background. I'm hiring
So you guys run kind of a zone defense, so to speak. Like there's 4 of you, right?
sports. You got to break it down. It was
So
a great analogy.
Yes, it was. So there's basically 4 of you, right? You're all
correct.
decision makers.
4 owners.
There's 4 owners,
4
right?
major owners. Yeah.
So what you do is you each gets 2, so to speak, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
And then you guys come back and you talk and you're like, here's
Yeah.
the challenges we're having. These are the challenges we're having.
Yeah.
You're regional. You're regional directors now in your own company, basically, right?
Pretty much, absolutely. Because when we used to hop around everywhere, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
They would like wait for this answer because it's better, as opposed to this one. When they know it's me, when they know it's the person I'm working with, it's a lot easier structure. I get better results, and I had to learn all that too.
Absolutely.
And what's cool is like we could change it after a quarter. I'll go over here and redo that.
Okay.
My partner might be good at like I know my role. Like I know I'm numbers, but I also know how to go in and change it, motivate them, get them what they want, inspire. I know other ones are great at technique. You know what I mean? Maybe
Right.
showing hair, maybe like what you do, the chef,
Right.
being in there with them, where I'm not going to be
Right.
in there with them, right? Um, so like we kind of like figured out our roles, and we help each other too. It's not just like you're on your own island, I'm on
Sure.
my own island, and
I like that switching it up, though. I think
Yeah.
that makes sense because, you know, kids are smart. I'm referring to employees as kids, but you know, if mom says no, they go ask dad because he's an easier yes all the time, right?
They do it to my wife. They're like, she's so nice.
So my daughter last night was trying to play us against each other,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, why are you so defensive? We're just talking to you. So my daughter's 15 and it's different.
Yeah.
She's different. The relationships are different. And I'm going at it in a very different way than my parents did because I know how it affected me. And I want to try something new. So it's just a conversation. You know, who's going to be at this party on Friday? How you getting there? Whose party is it? You know, and then she wants to get right into curfew. Like, what time can I stay out until? And I'm, you know, I know
What'd you tell her?
here I want
I hear it.
So this is how it works. I
In
want
the back of your mind, you know what yours would be.
Right.
No.
So I wanted to land on midnight.
Yeah.
Which I think is
That's pretty good. 15.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not what she wants.
It's not like it's good for America. It's not happening in Europe, but it's pretty good.
It's not what she wants,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's more along the lines of she wants to decide based on what time everybody else goes home.
Yeah.
The challenge there is her friends are 18 years old.
Yeah.
They're not going home. you know, and she's certainly not staying there. So what do? I say 11:30. She's like, and she's like, are you crazy? She's like, I don't have to listen to you. I said, why don't we do this? Instead of arguing about it, why don't you tell me what time you were thinking? And then we'll meet somewhere in the middle. And because my job is to keep you safe. And all these kids they don't have a curfew because they're 3 years older than you. And I hung out with older kids too. So I know exactly how it goes down. She's like 1:30 at least.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
You know, she's putting pressure on me, you know?
Learn from the best.
She absolutely picked up all the tactics from the time she was 3 years old.
Yeah, you got to mold it.
Now I got to mold it. So I said, look, why don't we play it by ear? When I get off of work, I'm coming home, I'll pick you up. And that's usually around 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she knows that. And she's like,
that's good. You're picking her up too.
She's like, fine. Is she happy with it? She's not going to be happy with anything I decide. So it's got to be almost her decision, you know, but I'm just giving her ideas. Right?
I do that with everybody. I do let them make their decisions. Now, there's a funnel.
Right.
Right? But I let people make their decisions.
It's multiple choice, but there's only two.
I don't have to. I'm after the results. How I get there, it's, you know what I mean?
The magic in between.
Cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. We're wrapping up right now. Until the next one. If you have any questions, anything you want to email us, give us your email, Jamie. Or IG, whatever you want. On the spot?
It's not .Jamie on the IG. Yeah, KNOTT.JAMIE. Check me on IG. Or you can email me, jamie@saddleriverinn.com.
I'm Chop Chop _SAFIL. Hit me up on there. I hit up all my DMails. Holy shit.
But that's kind of what they are. DMs are D-mails, bro. They're direct mails, right?
And I'm sure we'll put it on the show.
I actually have a question before we jump off.
Yeah.
What does chop say, Phil?
What is it?
What is it?
So, like, chop is like, they call Portuguese people pork chops, right?
Oh.
That's chop.
Okay.
Chop festival.
Okay, I got it.
Boom. So Phil was my first, like, I had the internet, believe it or not, since like 1991.
Phil had the internet before everybody else did, of course.
I did. I had Comcast and I had
okay.
modem and everything.
Okay.
One of the one things my parents helped me out with. And you needed a name for AOL, right? And it's the last two letters of my last name. The first two letters of my last name, and FIL is the first three.
Oh.
I just learned it. It just.
And now chops on everything, bro.
Yeah, man.
I guess I'm meat. Right. Not chop.
That's the restaurant part. The meat.
Right.
That B&M's. Whoever uses it.
I don't know, but I never knew that. That's good. Pork chop. I should have known that. My best friend was Portuguese growing up. Dennis Costa. Shout out.
It's all starting to make sense.
Yep.
So cool. With that, we'll see you guys. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. We're out.
Be good.